Hi, I'm Janet. So on my mind this week is music. We have several libraries in our customer base that are music libraries and several arts libraries as well. And there is a new feature in 1911 that I'd like to talk to you about. It's to do with displaying musical notation in the OPAC and giving you the ability to be able to play that music in those musical snippets in the OPAC and from the OPAC. So in 1911, there is a new system preference. So if I go out to the Koha administration here and I look for music, nice quick way to find this. We have two new system preferences. OPAC play musical in scripts and OPAC show musical in scripts. The actual system preference name and the origin of this enhancement comes from a particular bug, and the terminology is actually incipit, and I think the preference name will be changed in due course to OPAC play musical in Incipit and OPAC show musical Incipit. Essentially, what this is allowing us to do is to enable the encoding of a piece of music within the OPAC. So we set our system preferences to play and the OPAC show musical in scripts to show. So that's the first step. Then we have to ensure that our mark framework is set to use the correct mark code. So if I go to mark bibliographic framework, and I'll take the default framework as an example here. If I go into the mark structure, and the code that I'm looking for, the tag, is the 031. And we have an 031 in the default framework. And what I need to enable in the edit subfields area is that a key set of subfields are available for my cataloging process. So I've got a subfield 2. I have the subfield G. The subfield G relates to the clef that will be in use. I have the key signature as well in the subfield N. I've got a time signature subfield in the O, and then in the P is the actual musical notation itself. I've also got the ability to use the subfield U for a URL to a piece of music. So I need to ensure that each of those subfields are set to display in the editor so I can actually enter in the code that I need to enable this feature. So that's the second step after setting the system preferences. Now, if I look for an example, so I'm going to look for my record that I've been working on. I've got a mark record testing Plaine and Easie with Mozart. And if I go into edit record here, now in my mark record, if I scroll down now to the 031 tag, here we have the subfield descriptions for the musical incipits information. So incipits is a term that is used for entering in this type of musical notation code. Now here's our system code, the subfield 2, the subfield G for the clef, the key signature, the time signature, the musical notation itself, and then a URI identifier if you have one. Some of these are self-explanatory, so 3/4 is 3/4 time signature, but some of them are a little more cryptic. Now you can consult what type of code to add on a site like Plaine and Easie, which is where the origins of this enhancement arose. So on the Plaine and Easie code site, we have descriptions of what mark tags are used for this type of coding. So I can see the subfield G here. If I scroll down, it shows me that the way to enter in the treble clef in that type of format would be to put in G-2. And if I just pop back to my catalog record here, that's what I can see is written in the clef here. And this is quite a complicated area. Earlier today, I put in the musical notation for a particular couple of bars from a Mozart minuet. I'm not a music librarian, and it took me a little while to work these out. But if you go onto Plaine and Easie, it is possible to do so. Under the musical notation section, we can see the Mark 21 subfield 031 and the subfield P that gives us descriptions of how to enter the musical notation, which hopefully corresponds to what I've put there. And I'm sure you music librarians will be much more adept at that than I am. So I've entered in my musical Incipits information. I'm just going to save that record, and then we need to see how it looks on the OPAC view. So I click out into the OPAC view. Here's my record coming up, and after a minute or two, a second or two, it's quite quick, we have the coding that I entered, and this little 2 bars from a Mozart minuet. I can play the sample, which I'll do so. And that corresponds to the code that I put in my catalogue record here. In the edit record itself. So it's a simple set of system preferences to apply. The musical notation part is probably the hardest, but with a reference like the Plaine and Easie code website, you can work through the detail and enable the transcription of your music so that it displays on the catalogue in a visual form, and also with the ability to play a sample of that music. So that's my what's on my mind this week. Thank you very much for listening.